A question which I'm often asked is, Peter, should I be a cash buyer? Are there any benefits for being a cash buyer? Should I tell estate agents I'm a cash buyer when I go in to register or when I make an offer? And these are great questions. And I think the reality is, as is so often the case in property, there isn't a sort of hard and fast binary answer like yes or no, because so much of it is going to be, it all depends. For example, I've registered with estate agents and I've made offers with estate agents and they haven't asked me what my position is. They haven't said, are you a cash buyer? If I've said I'm buying with a mortgage, very often they haven't really batted an eyelid at that. But some estate agents will ask you, and some estate agents will ask you what your position is when you register with them, and some may even at that point ask you if you can actually prove your status. So there's no hard and fast rule. Some will and some won't. So of course the thing is, we just need to be prepared. So if you are a cash buyer, you need to have proof that you can be a cash buyer. What will that proof be? Well, it could be as simple as a bank statement showing how much cash you've got in the bank. That is probably what the estate agents would prefer. But of course the question then is, what if you haven't got enough cash in the bank to actually buy a whole property? Well, I would prove that I had the deposit, assuming I did have the deposit. If there was enough money in the bank to cover the deposit, I'd just say, well, I am buying with a mortgage, but I have the deposit. But even better than that, and probably as well as that, I would talk to a very good mortgage broker first and see if I could get a decision in principle, or an AIP as it's sometimes known, which shows that I can get funding very quickly, that the funding is in place in principle. And all I have to do is tell my broker which property I'm buying and let them then pursue that with the lender and get the loan in place. So that can satisfy an estate agent as well. I mean, I don't think that it would be reasonable for every estate agent to assume that every buyer is a cash buyer. And so from that point of view, if you haven't got the cash, don't think that that rules you out. But of course there are things that you can do to make sure that the estate agents take you seriously, like making sure that you can show them what cash you do have to cover the deposit if you do, or showing them that you have a DIP or an AIP from your broker. But does it make any difference? Well, there's a kind of an assumption on the part of the estate agent that if you have the cash in place, then you will be able to buy the property, that you're not going to go down the process of trying to buy for the next 6 weeks and then get declined on your mortgage. So it gives certainty. So I can see why they like that. There's also an assumption on the part of the agents that if you've got cash in the bank ready to go, you don't have to apply for a mortgage, and that's going to save a lot of time. But I have to say, in my experience, that isn't always the case. I've bought properties for cash, and for whatever reason the solicitors have got bogged down in searches and the like, and it's taken as long, if not longer, to do a cash deal as it has to do other deals which I've done using mortgages. But one thing I'll always say to estate agents, to hedge my bets really, is I'll say to them, look, I'm a cash buyer, so I'm intending to buy the property with cash, but I'm also going to apply for a mortgage, because in my experience it can be just as quick buying with a mortgage as it can be with cash, depending upon who the lender is and how quick they can actually draw down the loan. So I can buy for cash, but if the mortgage comes through more quickly, I will be using the mortgage. And 99.9% of the time that will satisfy the estate agent, and they won't even query that. They know that it doesn't really matter, but that they agree, you know, if the mortgage comes through as quickly or quicker than perhaps doing it with cash, which can happen, then it doesn't make any difference. By and large, what I will do is tell them I'm a cash buyer, but buy it with a mortgage. And once you've told them that, they very, very rarely sort of check up or chase or come back to you and say, well, you know, I thought you were going to do this for cash. Where's the cash? Why are you still waiting for the mortgage? Partly because I will, in fairness, try and chase the mortgage through as quickly as I can anyway. I hope you found this video useful and informative, and if you did, then please come over to my website www.thepropertyteacher.co.uk, where you'll find loads more great property related resources, including free special reports to download and my best-selling series of ebooks, which includes the Successful Property Renovators Workshop, 63 common defects in investment property and how to spot them. And if you're just starting out in property, or if you want to grow your portfolio, you may be particularly interested in the Successful Property Investors Strategy Workshop, in which I'll take you through exactly how I started and built my property portfolio, starting literally with none of my own money, and how I built a portfolio of £2 million worth of property in just 4 years. And that was starting from scratch. I'll take you through everything that I did right so that you can copy me and do the same. And I'll also show you everything that I did wrong so that you can avoid the mistakes that I made and so that you can progress in property and be far more successful, far more quickly than I ever was. And this is based upon my own real life experience, and it took me about 4 years to actually work out how to do property investing properly. But in the 200 pages in the Successful Property Investors Strategy Workshop, I'm going to show you all of that 4 years knowledge condensed down so that you can use it immediately. And until next time, here's to successful property investing.